600-page book on the organochlorine industry. This is the largest chemical industry. To show how important this industry doesn't want you to know anything about it, they spend $130 million a year to keep you interested in Cindy Crawford and Brad Pitt and Pele or Michael Jordan. Because if you found out about that industry, let's hear facts that are available for all of us. 40 billion kilos of organochlorines are put in our environment every year. It means more than 11,000 chemicals. They have only tested 300 or 400 of these chemicals. Every one has been found toxic to human beings that they have tested. And they didn't test all 11,000. And that's just our environmental systems, isn't it? Let's go to our social systems, because I want to answer your question, because there isn't a second question than addressing our extinction. Let's take our social system. Last night at the university, I read one of your famous doctors, Enrique Accorsi, a list of things I asked him. I said, Enrico, tell me about the state of the health of the Chilean people. He would know. He would not want to exaggerate. He is a caring physician. We became friends on my last visit. He took me to Neruda because of our mutual love. On this list, may I get some of these ideas?
Pero claro, of course.
Here is his list to show you I am not making it up in Spanish. These are in the social ecology of your people in Chile. How he divides the population into 5 different segments of the 20% that are poorest, the 20% that are richest, and in between.
De todas estas cifras, ¿cuál es la que le impresiona a usted más de la situación de Chile como médico, de nuestra
Of all
enfermedad?
of these things,
¿Cuál es la más grave?
The one that tells us that we will be extinct the most, your men beat your women. The world champions in domestic violence. And I want to look in the camera and tell these stupid men of Chile, you beat your women and you kill your future. You can beat each other, but when you beat your women, first of all, you show your cowardice because you know you can beat her up. And you need, because of how small you feel, to do this. You cannot beat your women. You are also world champions in beating and mistreating your children. Where is there a future? But let me tell you, in my condemnation of your beating your women, there is something greater beating you. Because you would not beat your women if you could end the difference between your rich and poor. If you could take care of your elderly and not give them wages that they cannot survive on. If you who had money saw it not as a way to have fancy vacations and BMWs, but to care for your poor, your women and your children. If care were the revolution, then you would not have to feel so small and so damaged and so humiliated by your unemployment and how unvalued you as a man are by your political and economic systems. You would not beat your women.
Ahora, Patch, one question, una pregunta sobre esto. Claramente el diagnóstico de la situación del mundo y dentro la nuestra, Chile como país, es negativa. Ahora, hay que cambiar, hay que cambiar. Durante este siglo se ha tratado de hacer muchos cambios y muchas revoluciones. Hasta la palabra revolución ha ido perdiendo fuerza por las sucesivas decepciones, porque todas han fracasado en el intento de cambiar el sistema. ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre esta propuesta revolucionaria suya con la cantidad de propuestas revolucionarias que han habido en la historia humana?
Well, let me challenge you. In the macho, revolutions, they have been revolutions around money and power. The communist revolution wasn't a communist revolution. It was money and power, meaning men, once again, and this has been true of these revolutions. They have been men revolutions. And the problem with men revolutions is that they like money and power. All right, let me tell you of some other revolutions that have happened that you did not include in your revolutions that are doing very well. Walt Whitman was a revolution in poetry.
David Thoreau también, es Thoreau.
Yes. But let's talk about Walt Whitman because we can relate it to a great Chilean poet, Neruda. Walt Whitman's poetry, not only in its form, but its content, was a poetry of revolution, influencing poetry all over the world and influencing people like me who believed, as Walt Whitman and Neruda both did, that the people are beautiful, that life is beautiful. Rich, poor, it's all beautiful. You can love all people. Walt Whitman has poems. I love the farmer. I love the mechanic. I love the carpenter. I love the priest. I love the beggar. I love the drunk. He has poems that say those words. And that revolution has been carried to the present. You're carrying it on your table here with a book of Neruda's poetry. So that revolution in poetry, all right? There have been revolutions in music. You know, Beethoven was a revolution in music as a romantic and gave possibility in music that will live as long as humans live. And that revolution is touching people today. Last night, we heard a man say, "What makes you alive?" And he said, Bach. Bach was a happy man, happy family man. And his revolution is making me powerful for the revolution of care. If we had love, if we had a revolution of care, it wouldn't matter whether you were a democracy, a socialist, or a communist, because in care, all are cared for. They're all cared for, whether it's the people in democracy or people in socialism. The problem is, simplistically stated, men have always done the money and power, and the women have always done the work of love, with a few men being inspired by the revolutions of care, Christ and Buddha, and Walt Whitman and Neruda. But the real carrier of love and humanity throughout history has been our mothers. It was for me and for all people that The real revolution in love have been mothers, but as we see in Chile, men beat their women.
Germán Hesse hablaba de la madre universal.
Yes.